We've been here since second grade.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming out on this rainy morning. I think it rains every day, so I'm glad to see you here. And welcome to our Cardinal Family Forum. We had one last Thursday, so this is our second one. We'll have another one this afternoon. But what we're doing today is, this is sponsored by the Parent Council, which we're still getting up and running and trying to figure out which direction to go. But as of right now, we think a Parent Council is kind of being your tour guides at the zoo or at the museum. You know, we're trying to help you maneuver your way around the school. And if you have questions, you can ask us and we'll try to answer for you. But if not, you know, hint you in the right direction or try to find the answer and, you know, just make you feel welcome and involved here at UA. Right now, we have a couple Parent Council members here. Everyone wave or raise your hands. And what we've done is, these are my mentors, I think it's and when school started. And so they just kind of progressed into a Parent Council. But we have parents that are like a 2-year parent. We have parents that have been here for 12 years. We have parents that are very involved with the band, parents that are very involved with sports. Parents who their children go on to the theater. So it's a wide mixture of parents so that if you have questions, you can talk to them, they can give them their honest opinion. And at the different stages in their lives, you know, again, a first-year parent, second-year parent is going to be a lot different than somebody who's been here for 12 years. So, so today, in the beginning here, we're going to talk a little bit on belonging and finishing strong in school. And what I have found is belonging is a little different to me than it is to Tona, than it is to Lenora. And finishing strong is different to everybody too. For me personally, belonging is just coming into this building and seeing those friendly faces and saying hello or seeing a face that I recognize and just having conversations. And my children just feel so comfortable here that they don't want to go anyplace else. They love being here and being with their friends and being with their teachers. So for me, it's probably a little different than what it is for Clyde. But Lenore, would you like to talk about your experience here?
Sure. Hi, so my name is Lenora. I have a 12-year-old who's in 6th grade, and I have a rising kindergartner in the fall. And so for us, what belonging is to find our niche, where we fit in this family that is here, that has been provided to us in this community. We've only been here for 2 years now. This is our 3rd year this year. So to find our place and where we feel comfortable, where we're an asset and helpful, where my kids are growing is where we belong. And it's not been too hard to figure that out because there's so many opportunities here to help and to so many people to guide us along the way. Do you want me to mention about finishing strong? Finishing strong, for what I was thinking about, was not just for the school, not just for us, not for, it can be whatever matters at that moment. So at this moment, finishing strong is getting out of the rain. Maybe finishing strong is to get through the school year without being distracted in middle school and maybe focusing so we can get through it. Maybe finishing strong is to, instead of doing dishes after dinner, reading our books with our kids instead, so we have energy to be with our babies every night, and finishing strong for that night kind of thing. And it can mean anything at any different moment, which is what I like, our slogan, I like it because it can mean anything at any moment. But that's how it is for me, for our families.
And Lenora, she's another one that, being different, she's part of our board, the school board. So we have, like I said, all types of members on here. Tona, now she's just the opposite. She's been here quite a while. I won't say how many years. She wants to let you know. But I would like you to hear from her too of what means to her.
I'll stand over here. Hi. Oh, hi, I'm Tona Vitale. I have 3 children. I have a child that just graduated from the Academy. I have a junior and an 8th grader. And that was such an inspirational thing you had just said, but my finishing strong, I took taking a little different way. I was just so excited to have a graduating child from Union Academy. She started here in 7th grade, was kicking and screaming coming in, but ended fabulously. She was in sports, but cheerleading, and finishing strong to me is just having a great experience at the school. I have a junior who's going through the same situation of looking at colleges, and the school has really helped them through the years. My 8th grader, the same thing. Just having the teachers supporting them, having the guidance supporting them, the school overall having them just follow them through every step of the way, and they've had such good experiences through everything. So I look forward to them finishing their school experience here at UA strong and going forward to their next chapter of their lives.
I'm going to do one more because Dr. Walters is on her way. She had a meeting first thing this morning, so she's almost here. And so we've had a middle schooler, high school, and Heather, would you be able to tell us your experiences since you have a little one? Sure. Thank you. And this is your second? This is my second year. This is her second year.
I'm Heather Patterson, and it's my second year. I have a kindergartner this year and a 1st grader. So I only know really the elementary side of things, and I love it. Our teachers have been great, very welcoming, and then I have just kind of found ways to become involved, and that's helped me get to know everybody. And I think that's kind of what you have to do to finish strong too, is find little ways you can get involved, and as little as cutting box tops to helping in the classroom, meeting the other parents. Courtney and I knew each other from preschool, but then our kids are in the same class this year, so it worked out. So I think we love it here. Our kids love it. Can't wait to come every day, except today. It was a tough day.
Thank you. Misty Conley, she is an assistant in the 1st grade. Actually, I think she's Heather's assistant teacher. And she couldn't be here today because the teacher's out, so she's on full duty today. But she mentioned about finishing strong for her was thinking about it just as you start the year, finish the year in the same way. And I think sometimes we get exhausted, and our kids are exhausted, and trying to finish up those homeworks and the testing at the end of the year, that you just need to remember they're still kids. We still need to have that all-around child, the character, their school education, they're getting involved in the community. It's just an all-around thing. I think we have to be mindful of that, and, especially for me, because I'm telling you, I think I'm beat about right now. January, you're just thinking about all those things that we need to do towards the end of the year. And I have to be mindful of my own children and really helping them with their homework and their projects that they have coming up. She should be here in a couple minutes, but I was wondering, Ms. Roy, you've been here for a while. Do you have any suggestions for new parents, or some of the things that you went through that have been successful, or ideas that you could talk to them about? I know. I've had Ms. Roy's daughter in my class, and she's a very involved parent, so that's why I'm asking her. Okay, that's okay. Yes, Ms. Link?
I was gonna say, I like the name in my mind. Yes, Lisa Ann and I have the paper if you can fill time.
Okay.
On the finishing strong. I'll give you a few minutes.
Yeah, sure.
Lisa Ann, do you want to do it?
Sure. Kai and I share a brain.
Yes.
So.
Hello, my name is Clyde Nestor. I have a 5th grader here, and this is my 2nd year at UA, and I absolutely love it, and so does my daughter. It's a blessing when your child wakes up, even when they're sick, and say, I really want to go to school. I'm like, you're sick, you can't go to school, but I don't want to miss it. I'm going to miss my teachers and my friends, and what am I going to miss out on learning today? And we didn't always have that when we were at the 2 schools previous to this one. And we look at our UA family as a continued blessing for us because it is an extension of us as a family. And finishing strong means so many things. And I'll let you start first.
When we thought about finishing strong, we kind of broke it down into the different levels of stakeholders that we have in school. So, for the school, finishing strong, I think means being prepared, getting grades in, communicating with parents, making sure that parents know what they need to know, that students know what they need to know going into the final stretch. Because as we like to call it, we're in the Wednesday of the year. It's the long, boring, we're all kind of ready for Friday, but we're not quite there. So keeping everybody focused. So I think that's part of the school's job.
And then next we would go to the students. Students come to school on time and ready to learn. This means I've had a good night's sleep. I haven't stayed up playing Fortnite and talking with my friends on Facebooks and texting while my parents are sleeping, because as kids get older, somehow we don't seem to check on them as much as we used to when they're younger, but we still need to continue to be actively involved. What are your assignments? Have you done your homework? Are you working on that project that's due? I know you have 3 weeks, but 3 weeks goes by quickly. We have to make the effort to make sure they're doing what they need to do. And we need to seek help when we need help. If things aren't going well, we don't know as the school that you need help unless you communicate that with us. That's through teachers, that's through the principal. And if things aren't being done in the timeline that you need and feel being met, you need to go up the chain of command. And don't feel afraid to go up the chain of command, and don't wait. Because by waiting and then you get angry and frustrated when it's something small that could have been taken care of with a phone call and communicating.
And then as parents, gosh, aren't we doing a great job anyway? But we do need to make sure that our kids have had breakfast and that they're at school on time. I have a 16-year-old who drives himself to school, and I still have to light a fire under him, to get him where he needs to be. We also need to, and I'm speaking from personal experience, we have to stay on top of communication. There's so much information in the newsletter. There's so much information on teachers' websites. I am so I'm sure they said that really nicely. If you read the email, it's like, oh yes, it's in the email. So, we're busy. We're all busy. We all get 5,000 emails a day, but we have to make a concerted effort to stay on top of that, especially this time of year, so that we can support our students and our school. And make sure that we're doing our part, that we've got our volunteer hours in, that if we see that there's a need in the school, that we fill it. Find out what our special gifts are. Some people are IT people, some people are crafty people. There's a place for everybody to get involved. And I'm sure this lady right here is more than happy to point you in the right direction. If you have a skill set that's unique, or if you have a skill set that just, I have this amount of time, or I have my child naps from 2 to 4, what can I do at home? She's more than happy to help you find things. But I think as parents, we have to own what we can do to help everybody be successful.
And that's pretty much it.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. I was wondering, do you guys at this point, until Dr. Walker's here, do you have questions for me about the volunteering? And have you downloaded your mobile serve yet? Anything like that? Because what I'm noticing for some of the parents, they'll be like, I've downloaded the mobile serve, but I'm not seeing anything on my end. So they're forgetting to put the code in. And so you might have your hours, but you haven't got your magnet from me or your letter or anything. And that's probably why, because that code wasn't put in. So you can see it on your phone, but I can't see it until then you have to go back in and put the code back in and then resubmit everything within it. It's on the main UA webpage under volunteer. And the parent, when you hit the parent one, it's at the very top. It'll say mobile serve parent code.
As long as there's the green check mark, does that
Yes.
indicate that you've seen it?
Yes, if there's a little green check mark. If you go to the activities part, when you hit those 3 lines and hit activities, and you see the green check mark, yes, that means I've seen it and it's been verified. Oh, good. You see that? They're all checking right now. I love it. And if you have high school children, make sure they're putting theirs into, because their code is going to be different than your code. And each high school class has a different code. So And I guess while you're here, I'll talk a little bit too about the high school hours. In ninth grade, they start having to do community service hours. They have to do 10 hours outside of UA at a nonprofit. So whether it's the Humane Society, Cancer Society, something like that. The other hours, they can get them all there if they want, but we've also lessened hours here at school because sometimes, especially with ninth graders, if they don't have parents that are able to drive them a lot of places, they could work concessions and count that as part of their hours. But right now, I'm very happy to say I'm seeing a lot of the kids going outside the community, which is part of our 3 Cs, and really making those connections and getting to know the people and learning about some of the jobs that are out there. Yes.
Maybe I could add, well, I have a rising ninth grader
Mhm.
next year, so can he start, when can he start his hours? Is that like July 27th, whatever day we start school, or when does that start?
He can start his hours the day after the last day of school.
He can't,
Because then as soon as he's that freshman, have at it. And especially, so I get a lot of questions, can they do their hours in summer? Absolutely. I think that's a great time to do hours, since they have so much schoolwork and their activities. Go ahead and knock it out in the summer. That's totally fine with me too.
And will that code remain the same year after year?
Oh, that's something I have to look into. I don't know, but I will find out and then we'll send a note out. Yes. Okay.
It won't because it's by class. So like, well, if you're like the class of 2020, that code will remain the same for you. But then
The ninth
the
grade.
incoming freshmen will have a different code.
So we'll just hold off until we start school for the app.
It'll go out before,
Yes.
yeah,
Oh,
so that you'll have time to get them ready for it.
So the sophomores now, they'll have the same code until they graduate. Okay. You're welcome. Okay, Dr. Walter.
Where are they?
Good morning. Do I need to use this candy, Ms. Stewart?
Please.
Good morning. Sorry, y'all, I'm late. I got caught up in carpool. Just kidding. I'm kidding. Y'all, I don't feel like I can use that excuse anymore because it's going so well. I don't know, but I don't sit in it every day. Good morning, people online. I understand we have some people online joining us, but this is nothing but a fire questions at me. You can ask me anything in the world. I do want to preface this with, and I tell our students this all the time, and we've had another session like this at night. I do want you to know that I'll make it a story. When a principal becomes the principal of a school, what other principals and people say to them is like, oh, wow, you got your own school. Wow, you got your own school. Well, when I became headmaster, or when our principals became principals here, I never say that. And if somebody says that to me, oh, you're in charge, you got your school. No, it's not my school. And I want you to also know it's not your school. My school is Monroe High School, because that's where I went. And this isn't your school unless you, and we don't have any graduates in here yet. This is your kid's school. And this is my kid's school, because every kid here is mine. So just know that as we talk about different things. I ate lunch yesterday with I got to tell y'all this, I ate lunch yesterday with our student council of high school. Today I eat lunch with our middle school.
And they're very excited.
Yeah, good. Well, I need to tell you this, and I'm all about manners. I'm all about shake hands. I had junior beta club, and I think you only get once to make a first impression. And so we talk a lot about shaking hands. Every handshake, about 95% of the hands I shook, and it was about 200 this week, were great handshakes, but they were in passing because of kids. And it was a good, hard, firm handshake. Now we got to take that to the next level. They need to stop, look me in the eyes, and say thank you or good morning or something. So we just want to take it to the next level on that. So those are the little kind of things we do. Last night, every night when I get in bed about 9:30, I think it was 11, I check my phone one more time to see if I have any emails or anything. And I got an email, and I always check them in reverse order. It's just how it works. And I got an email from one of the kids that I ate lunch with, and I was like, oh my God, they got it, y'all. This is one of our kids. And I replied to her, and I went, oh, so awesome. You wrote a thank you note for lunch and the time I spent with you. This, that's great. Then I went to the next one. Every single student I ate lunch with yesterday wrote me an email. Now, I haven't responded to all of them because I couldn't believe it, but every single one of them. And y'all, for me and what I do for this school and my job, that's what this is all about. And that's what this school is about, because you will only be asked, and if any kids are watching, shut your ears. You will only be asked your grades, what grades you made in 4 years of your life.
except unless you go to graduate school. It's really, I tell my two boys, the only time your grades have ever mattered are for 4 years, and that's high school, because those grades get you into college. After that, it doesn't matter what you make in the middle, it doesn't make this, it doesn't make that. It's those 4 years when you're making your ink on your resume that are so important. I don't tell other people's kids that yet, I just tell my own that, because those 4 years are the ones that count. So anyway, this is a chance for y'all to ask questions, so shoot at them, shoot me at them, shoot them at me. I'm not supposed to say shoot in school, am
I have a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
So on early release days, like this week we had an early release day. After the junior beta club let out, a lot of parents took their kids. I asked 2 or 3 different people here, are we supposed to take our kids out, or is it going to count as an absence?
Yeah.
And it was a little unclear. I got different answers
Yes.
from people, and I don't want it to be an absence. So
Correct.
what is the policy on early
If
release
your
days?
kid is not at school, even during exam time, when they don't have an exam, right? If your kid is not at school, they are marked absent. That's the state law. It does not count against them, and it really is okay, but then we have kids that are going for 13 years of perfect attendance, thank you, of perfect attendance. So for a kid like that, it would make a big difference. And there are schools that give scholarships if you have perfect attendance. But no, we want the kids here. I can tell you on our half day after a holiday, we had 265 kids absent. So that's a lot, but typically that's about average for a half day. One thing I would take to our school board is what administration would like to do is take one of our half days and just reverse it. Let's go to school. We have 10 half days. Let's go to school just the second half of the day. The half days are, and let's see it. Let's try it, see if it works, how what it's about. That's not definite yet. I need the school board to approve that. But one of the reasons is our half days are for character development with our kids, but also for professional development for our teachers. Well, if you teach half the day, and typically on half days, kids are a little rambunctious. So it wears the teachers down real quick, and then we're trying to do professional development. We don't feel like our teachers are on their A game when we're doing PD. So we'd like to reverse it, so our teachers are fresh in the morning, and let's just see how it goes. How it's attendance, we might decide we like it better, or we might decide nobody comes that day, or when I pitched that to the students yesterday, they were like, oh my God, I love it, I get to sleep in, I this. I don't know, something that I think we want to be able to try different things and see how that works. So when you mentioned half day, I wanted to throw that out there.
Tell them about daily attendance and like the 11:30 time.
That's what I was asking
Okay.
about actually specifically was after the beta induction, a lot of the kids got to went home with their parents.
Mhm.
Are they counted absent?
Yes, if you're not here up till 11:30, you have to be here half a day.
Even on half days? I think that's what she's asking.
That's
What
what
is the half day?
I'm pretty sure
11:30.
I don't think I saw unexcused absence on ours.
it would have to be 11:30 as well. And if that's wrong, I'll put something in the newsletter, but I'm almost positive that is correct. And we will, you have to be in school either until 11:30 or 11:30. One place where that used to really affect things is athletics. So if a kid could not participate in athletics unless they were here half a day, that is more of a gentleman's contract. There's no legal rule or anything within the state that does that, but we tried to definitely let our kids continue to take that. And it comes down to the coaches. You know, if you can't come to school, I really don't think you should be around other kids playing. All right, what else? Yes, sir.
My name is Jason Vicks. I have a 7th grader and a 4th grader. 4th grader, since kindergarten, 7th grader, she started, we transitioned her over from Charlotte Latin in her 4th grade year. Quick question, have we ever thought about doing like a diversity and inclusion program at the school? You know, not based just off of race, but based off of socioeconomic status, ethnicity. Because I'm kind of finding there's kind of a gap, and that gap needs a kind of a bridge to it. From my perspective and from a couple of other parents' perspective, have we ever thought about doing anything like that?
Yeah, and the question for those at home is about diversity and do we do any training here to help with that? I think when you say the word program, my first question would be, what do you mean by program?
Say for instance, I've done a lot of I've been directors of nonprofit organizations for kids for years with Jane Fonda. When my daughter came from Charlotte Latin, there was a diversity and an inclusion program at Latin where there was a forum where parents, kids got to express differences. Because there's no kid, as we think, are totally alike. There may be a kid who's dealing with some gender, something with the gender, or there may be a kid with, their race or ethnicity, or there may be a socioeconomic status where a person or a child feels that, I'm not like these other kids, and that may have them withdrawn from any type of school or,
Right.
But I would say like a program where basically there is, it doesn't have to be monthly, it can be just a class that's given to kids as well as parents,
Right.
to sit in and try to bridge the gap with all the differences that we have here.
Yes, I can tell you what we have done. I do think we definitely need to do more than what we have. What we have done in the past, because we had a teacher that was very passionate about it, we had a diversity club. Do you remember the name of it? We had a diversity club. It went very, very well.
Cardinal's Care.
What was it?
Cardinal's Care, maybe?
Cardinal's Care. It was one of that, but it was only in high school. I do think that they came, if I remember correctly, and asked me if some middle schoolers could go. And I said, just make sure the parents are good with it. Yes, they can do it. That teacher's no longer with us. And so that program sort of just died. The way we decide what we need is we want students to lead that and what they are passionate about. We asked for 6 people to start that club before we'll pour a lot of resources in it. So I'd love to talk to your daughter or you, because of your kid's age, and see how we could start something like that back up again as far as through clubs. I know that our counselors hit it well, hit it as hard as we can. And in the lower grades with Miss Bear in K-5, she hits a lot along, and Miss Bear and Miss Brunn hit a lot of small groups. So they have people, we have like a group of people that just are from single moms, or we have a group that are just, their fathers raised them. And that's where we call the parents and say, hey, I'm starting this group. You're a single mom. Are you good if we bring your kid into this? Some parents are very receptive of it. Some have not. I'm not aware of where we've had a club based on just race. I know we do gender clubs like Girls on the Run and Boys That Trot. What's the other one?
Yes.
What is
Excel.
Boys Excel and Girls on the Run. And that, but no, I think our whole society needs more of that, for sure.
You get accepted, like, put together like a.
Sounds like some volunteer hours.
Yeah, I volunteer.
Yes, no, we would love that. And that's what this school is all about. Exactly that. But no, I absolutely love it. She can work directly with you. And then what we'll do is we try to get an on-campus sponsor so that we have a representative here. When you're here, without going through a background check, we don't let you work with kids alone,
Right.
anybody, without a staff member there until you go through a background check. But that way we have a staff member, they can open the doors whatever time you meet. But no, that's excellent. I'm going to go into something else that's coming. We've partnered with the Monroe Hospital, Atrium Health. Had a meeting with them several years ago. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of media attention to schools and shooting in schools and stress in schools and where they're coming from. So Atrium Health right now currently provides us an athletic trainer. So if a kid gets hurt playing on their athletic teams, they go to the trainer, she wraps their ankle, ices their knee, whatever the injury is, and takes care of them. If a kid, I hate to tell you this, if a kid's walking around with crutches right now, it's almost like a cool thing. Because they got hurt, playing sports, they did that. And I know that sounds crazy, but it really and truly is. They got a story to tell. So going to our trainer is cool. Well, 1 in 4 people in America have a mental illness, a mental disorder. So along those lines, when you talk about mental issues, mental disorders, a lot of people, whoa, they're weird, they're different, they're whatever term is. Well, look around the room, 1 in 4 of us, and I can guarantee I know one of them, is in that situation. So when we're in that situation, in schools, we don't do much for kids on that. So I got a group of our staff here. We went to Atrium Health, met with Mike Lutz, the head of the Monroe Hospital, and said, Mike, I need some help. You provide us an athletic trainer. We split the cost through our partnership. I want a mental coach. And he said, what are you talking about? And I said, well, I want somebody that can come in and help our kids. If 1 in 4 people have a mental disorder, I want them to help them. So how can we go about this? For the most part, at first, I thought I got blown off. He said, oh, yeah, I understand. Yeah, we don't have to know. Came back. Then I said, I'm not done. Got another meeting with him, went back a second time. He listened the first time. I don't like no. So I didn't get it. On the third time, he called us and said, talked to Christy and said, bring Ann back up here with her team. I want to talk to her. We went back up about a month ago. And he said, I've got everything worked out. I want to partner with you. I want to give a full-time person to your school who can be that mental coach. To me, I look at it like a life coach. We are going to try to come up. We're in the process of reviewing resumes right now. Sometimes I think we move slow on hiring teachers. I can tell you the hospital moves a lot slower than we do on what all they have to do. It would be definitely a licensed personnel person that would be our employee that they would support to come in. If I could run the program and it was strictly just my opinion, nobody else's, the way I would see it going as soon as we got somebody on staff, we would have them the remainder of this year doing cool things with our kids. If you know Beth Rushing, our EL teacher, Beth does all the cool things with our kids. And it's about socialization and don't bully and do this and accept everybody for the way they are. Put them with Beth and let them understand the kids, get to know them. And then have sessions like this with parents so that parents can understand this is what we're dealing with. This is where society and the pressures they go. Through this process, I heard a story from a father that said they've gone through a lot of counseling with their kid because they're fortunate enough to be able to afford it. A lot of counseling and things with their kid. And what they found out is the pressure the parents were putting on the kid. And the dad's like going, oh my God, y'all, I thought I was the most supportive parent in the world. And what would send my daughter into, just a rage of anxiety was if she left in the morning and had a math test, he'd say, hey, honey, good luck on your math test. And the pressure of that absolutely killed that daughter. Well, when we went to school, our parents didn't know about our grades till our report card came in. And now you know about the grades before the kids do. So it's that type of pressure that we put on our kids, we don't even realize we're putting on it. And that pressure might be great pressure of what we need to do, but there might be a better way that we need to go about doing it. So now with this family I'm talking about, they will not, the parents have committed, I'm not logging into Power School. You go in and change the password, don't tell us what it is, we don't care. You can look at your grades, you can whatever, we'll find out when your report card comes in. And just different little things like that. Instead of good luck on your test, you might ask it like, how was your test? Or your test doesn't matter. Whatever it is, is what it is. But I want this person to come in and work with our families. I need counseling on it too. Exactly. When I see a kid and I know they had something, do you ask them this way or that way? So I would like to see the program go along that way. But we want this position to be a cool position. Not, oh, you had to go talk to the shrink? Oh, okay. You're coming out of the shrink's office? Oh, man, you're jacked up. That is not what we want. We want it to be a cool position, and it's okay. It's okay to go get your teeth cleaned, y'all. But in society, if something's wrong with you, if you go talk to a psychologist. So that's what we want to try to bridge that gap. And that's a whole social norm that would have to change. But I want to have the conversation with the parents so we can have that dialogue with the kids, and home and school are on the same page. So based on what you were saying with diversity and everything and the social pressures, that's one of the things that's coming. How soon this program will start, I'm not sure. We have resumes, but we hadn't even called for the first round of interviews. But I just want parents to know that that's something that we're coming. And if you know anybody at Atrium Health, please tell them thank you for just the partnership that they're doing. We will be the only school in Union County that has anything like this. I know in Charlotte, Mecklenburg, their Title I schools are high need schools. They are pouring some money into those schools to be able to provide something along these lines. So I'm very happy that we have it or are getting it. All right, what else?
I'm a new parent, Sarah Janowski, and my son's a 6th grader, and he's just really loved it, loved all the kids and the teachers, and I've been so impressed with UA, with the character, and the giving back. One thing, I just saw an opportunity to maybe enhance the academic challenging with after-school clubs, with robotics or science or engineering, language, math. Well, I see it in mine is in elementary school or Battle of the Books. just something, was more avenues to enhance academically. And what I know currently exists in middle school is Kindness Club, Junior Beta Club, and then the Ag Club. So I think there is a really big opportunity to,
I cannot disagree with you.
so what do we do?
I think the number one thing is we have to have an on-campus sponsor that does it for the needs I talked about a minute ago. She's asking about clubs for lower grades. Middle school particularly, we currently have 3 that she named, and how do we grow that and get more? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, honestly, the money did just start this year. For
elementary, the middle school, we're not gonna get it.
Hopefully,
I checked and they just said
We'll
6.
probably in our initial talkings, and I haven't been real involved with it, our initial talking, it would go up every year, like it would add a grade every year. Not positive on that, but that was when we first talked about it, the way it was gonna happen. The answer to that to me comes down to time. To step in my teacher's shoes, y'all at 4 o'clock, they're absolutely positively exhausted. So to ask them with no money to do something else is very, very hard. It's hard for me as their boss to go ask them. The easiest thing and the way you sucker them into it is kids ask for it. Hey, Miss Smith, will you help me with this? And our counselors know that, and our counselors will help drive that conversation, like Beth Rushing will help with the relationship she builds with students to make sure that they go and how do I ask and what do I do along those lines. We do ask all of our teachers, because we ask our students to do community service, we prefer for them to do their community service with our school, which would be programs and things like this. Through a meeting like this we had a couple of months ago, maybe a month ago, parents asked about Spanish in lower grades. So right now I'm going with Miss Anna Hughes, one of our teachers who is bilingual, does not teach Spanish here, but is going to start a Spanish club after school for anybody that wants to take place in it. What I want to do is be able to offer that. I want to be able to offer it for free, but I know I can't pay her any money for doing it. So we're looking into, and Miss McGinnis is working on this. We had a meeting about it yesterday. How can we do it? You know, if 100 people responded to the survey, they would like some kind of after-school Spanish enrichment something. So what if you did, it was $5 a week, 5 times 100 people, if, you know, you're probably going to get half of that, 5 times 50, that teacher gets a little jingle in her pocket to make it worth their while and time to do this. From a school, our employees work from 7 to 4. So from 3 to 4 gives us, our teachers, time to tutor, and that's where, and it just is a chain reaction, that's where the carpool readers are so important, because from 3 to 4, they still have students in the room, but we want them to be able to tutor. But we want our kids to have a responsibility to look at the board and know when my name comes out, I'm going to go, so the teacher can tutor over here with other kids. When that doesn't take place, then our teacher can't tutor, or that's the time when they can start that club from 3 to 4. If we did more of those, I like it, because now you're coming at 4 or 10 to 4 to pick your kids up. The carpool line is already down. There's less people in the carpool for everybody else at 3. So after-school programs are absolutely great. First 3 weeks of school, the reason carpool is so bad is because athletics, for the most part, has not started for like middle school. So every car is in that parking lot, in the carpool line. So that's where the after-school programs help, especially academically driven. I can tell you, if you would talk to our average kid, after school, they don't want, and our average kid, after school, they don't want a academic club. They want to run and play, and they're tired of thinking. But yes, I think we can begin to do a lot better with that too.
So, because this is important to me, and we came from a school that had the same mindset. Teachers are exhausted, rightfully so, and it's a lot to ask of them. And it was a challenge where I've seen it successfully happen in schools with a lot of extracurricular academic opportunities, is where they maybe invite an outside coding club or LACSA or something in, or they do pay for the teachers to have more incentive to come.
100% behind it. And like you said, he would be willing to come in and help. Y'all, our parents are pretty smart people. I mean, we can have it come in. All I need to do is run a background check on you. Then you can work alone with the kids.
Unfortunately, my 6th grader is much more into robotics and science.
Right.
things than I am.
But her husband might be, even though his kids wouldn't want that, that might be his interest in where it's important, and their volunteer hours could help your kid, and then maybe your volunteer hours could cook for the baseball team. I mean, so it's a hit or miss because she really can't cook. She can cook great. She can cook great. So those are the kind of programs and where we want our parents and our community service hours, just don't stay in track with your own kid. Think about what all the whole school could use.
And that's what we said earlier, like if you have a special skill set, share it with Mandy, because it may not be this minute that she can use it, but at some point in time, when somebody brings up a robotics club, she can be like, oh, you know what? I spoke to this engineer who's really interested in this, and let me put you all together. So that's what Clyde and I were talking about. You know, part of our finishing strong is digging deep and seeing what we can do for the school.
No, this, 2 weeks ago, we needed a brick mason. And the parents were like, oh my God, my husband's a brick mason. He can give our volunteer hours? Oh, thank goodness. Okay, honey, go. So now the school.
And grandparents too. I mean, our grandparents come to go first.
Yeah, we bought the bricks and all the labor was free. They even provided the mortar, you know, so those type of things. And they're like, I never thought my husband would ever get any of our hours. So it worked out great.
My question was similar. I have, I'm Michelle Cox, and my son Caleb is brand new to school. He's a 9th grader. And
you have a 9th grader? I thought you were a student. Go ahead.
Thank you. So I had a similar kind of experience the first quarter. You know, I kept, because I was, you know, in high school, you know, and did peer tutoring, and you know, student, all that. And then, so I kept saying the whole first quarter to my son, like, find out, because I didn't, as a 9th grader, I don't want to be like, Mom's going to call the school and find out. But I did notice that I wanted for more communication. And my assumption was, well, by 9th grade, a lot of kids have been there for a while and parents kind of know the ropes. But I did feel like I was kind of going through him saying, find out what you can get involved in, because he's kind of that way too. And, you know, can you do this? Can you do that? And he's like, Mom, I'm just not sure. We have these clubs, you know, during the day on Friday. And so I think we missed, and I don't know if he knew he didn't have enough with his GPA. We missed the, you know, the honor societies and the beta clubs, and kind of all that went by without knowing when the deadlines were. We just weren't behind. So I was hoping for, like she said, more to get involved in, because we've kind of settled where he said, Mom, I think this is just, you know, what there is. There's just a few options you can have student council in this, and there's just not a lot to choose from. So kind
I
of
had the same thing in 10th grade where you,
Okay.
my kids didn't, I was like, what do we have after school? And I even talked to Miss Sylvester,
Yeah.
who's their guidance
Yeah,
counselor.
and I
She was just like,
contacted,
we just don't have after school.
yeah, I contacted Mrs. Hammonds, and she gave me some information, but we contacted too late, and so it was right as the deadlines were happening for the honor societies and all that. Like I said, it may be that kids were applying maybe back in the spring or right at the beginning of the year because they had a certain GPA. For a while, he didn't. He came from being homeschooled, so maybe he has to wait. But I feel a little bit in the dark about some of that.
And I don't really hear a question, but I'm going
Yeah.
to talk about it for just a little bit. We're talking about high school clubs and how can we get kids more involved and offer more offerings after school for high school as well as lower grades. My personal opinion about that is we, for the most part, started mandatory clubs 4 years ago. 3 or 4. Under my tenure at some point since I've been headmaster. Mandatory clubs. We haven't found a way that we're like, this is it, this is how we need to do it. It's just been a little bit of hit or miss. You know, once you make a kid sign up for something, then we made them do it. Y'all were here this morning because you want to be. We didn't make everybody come because if they don't want to be here, we don't want them to be here. So it's sort of the same thing with kids and what they do. I can tell you yesterday in our meeting with the students, they were very happy. This is student council, which is typically our most involved kids that have been here or really in it and trying to find a place. The way I would like to see clubs, and I'm talking at the high school level or at any level go, is I have 2 kids, 2 boys, and one's just weird. I mean, he's just a weird kid. The other one's not a weird kid. And I'm talking socialized way. And the reason I don't have them at this school is because when I first got the job, headmaster's kids were not allowed to attend the school. And the reason I use the word weird on my own kid is because that's the term he uses. Mom, I'm just a weird kid. And so now we've embraced that word And what's wrong with being weird? You know, and that's the way it is. So I'm like, really? Tommy's a weird one. I mean, he's the one that plays sports. He's this. He's the weird kid. And so that's what we've adapted in our own family. But because of my son, and if I could have brought him here, my oldest at the time, he's in college now, doing great, all A's and B's, drinking a little too much, but we're working on that. He is the kind of person that needed a larger school than this to be able to find his niche. Does that make sense? He really did. My other one, he could go to a large school, a small school, it didn't matter, that's just his personality. So that was important. I probably wouldn't have brought my oldest one here if I could have. And for that reason, you know, in our high school, we have 420 kids. That's it. So for him to be, I mean, he went to Independence High School at the time, the largest high school in the state of North Carolina, and was very successful because he found his niche. Clubs for me are so every kid can find that social aspect and be able to feel like they belong. Just because Miss Stewart and I take the same classes and we're both AP level students doesn't mean we have anything in common. We're both just gifted. So I can't find that niche, and until you find that niche, you never feel like you truly belong. And if you don't truly belong, you're never going to give your all because you have that missing piece. And that's what, to me, clubs are made for. So the ultimate reason we got showcased, we began the showcase at the beginning of the year, and we don't love the exact timing of that, and it's a little too much for the lower grids, and it's not enough for the big kids.
And it rains every year.
And it rains every year. So we tried K-12, we got to find a happy medium K-12. Is because we want parents at all levels to walk through our campus with their kid and go, hey, they got chess club. Honey, you play chess with dad all the time. Why don't you look into this? Because if his interest is chess, then there are probably going to be kids of his liking in chess club. So that's what it's for. And the reason we want parents there is because parents to attract them to what you think their interests are. The other thing we tell all of our kids, you get me 6 other people that want it, I don't care what the club is, unless there's something worshiping Satan, we're gonna make it happen here if I have to be the sponsor. You don't want me to be the sponsor of certain clubs. I don't know anything about them, but I will be there and I'll Google it before I go. But that's what's so important is that social aspect. Anything we could do, we'll do it. Yeah, we have Pinterest club in high school. Pinterest. Now, we don't always open the filter up because if you Google certain things or search certain things on Pinterest, it's not. But that's important. We have, what are some of our other clubs that are unique?
Like yoga. My girls have done Pinterest and yoga. They love the Pinterest club.
Yeah.
And things like that. Yoga, there's boys and girls in the yoga club because I have another child in that one. They've done, I know the littler grades had Legos.
Yeah. So
They have pickleball, they have,
yeah.
you know, I mean.
Yesterday.
My son was in the, watching an old sports film. For a while.
Yeah.
They chase and see fish.
No.
So yeah, we have a fishing team
He's
actually.
totally excited now. He just, I guess that now the seniors are getting to start clubs. So he's getting to play with one of his soccer teammates, started a lacrosse clubs, and he's like,
Yes.
jazzed. Yeah, he's.
And I love the lacrosse club because I've been asked multiple times to have a lacrosse team.
Yeah.
Well, if we can't get the club off the ground, then we're not gonna put the money in for the team. But we'll support the club to see. Now, I understand I'm not a lacrosse player. I understand lacrosse is more expensive than football. So it will be Jenna. She just walked in. That's Jenna Westbrook. Said, hey, we're going to throw out a Pinterest club. I didn't think anybody joined it. And it's phenomenal. We're starting a shooting club. And we'll have a shooting gun, a shooting team, which is important because that's some people's interest. Well, the most important aspect of that is know the rules. Nothing comes on campus, number one. And then we'll take it from there.
That makes sense what you're saying in the clubs and how you view their purpose. I think, and I should have just phrased my question or comment better. I guess I was thinking of it more from an academic standpoint because he is college bound and, you know, thinking about that, well, it's great to be a straight A student, but what else do you have on your resume as you're, you know, as colleges are looking at you? And so I was thinking of it more from that standpoint, like what other opportunities are there to, you know, to experience other things, get other, like you were saying, academic experiences, and to kind of make yourself stand out as you're thinking about college.
Right.
down there.
And even for a middle schooler, just growing the muscle of your brain, just learning new things or enhancing what you already know.
And one of the things, come up with some ideas and pitch them to us. And you can pitch them to us and don't tell your kid you did. And that's really what I want. I want us to, you and our counselors, you and our principal, you and myself, have conversations. You tell your kid if you want to or not. We don't ever tell the kid. And then I can drive that conversation when your kid comes in.
And
You know.
for esports. It's, I have an esports company. I sponsor 10 guys to play video games professionally. 60 universities in the
Please don't
United
tell
States. I know it's crazy, but 60 universities in the United States have esports programs. Because if you think that, when we played video games, it was like, get off game, go do your homework. But now it's more like, stay on game. Because the average esports person that's into video games, they stream, which is they go on YouTube, they go on Twitch, they go on Mixer, they make revenue. The highest paid video gamer this year is Ninja, which probably everybody's in here knows about. If they play Fortnite, he makes $10 million just in streaming. But
Let them play.
yeah, so it's become huge that you think that, like university, all these universities have esports facilities, and it's not based off. I have a game truck as well that I brought here a couple of times for kids to play video games, but I also I teach kids how to code. So sometimes I do it with the City of Monroe. I'll go in and play. One instance, I went to all of the parks and recreation. So I brought my game truck, the big game truck, it's got all the characters on it and everything. But I let the kids just start playing. I used to live in Blackstone, yeah. Yeah. So, I let the kids play, I let them get on, I let them play and everything. Then midway through, I just shut the games off. And then I start going into, do you know how these video games are made? You ever thought about programming? Have you ever thought about, learning code? Things like that. Because some kids are, they may love video games, but some kids, there's a niche in there that may want to learn how to code. How do you make this person walk? How does this person get designed? So those are kind of things that I think there's a niche in that.
Let me tell you one of the problems in education is today is we are training people. We're talking about online gaming. We're training people for jobs that don't exist. So they're going to school. There's not a kindergartner here that we can start talking about what they're going to be doing for a living. I would much rather right now think of anybody you have known that has had surgery in the last year, and then ask how much robotics were used in that surgery. I can tell you right now, I would rather our kid with the fine motor movements of moving and gaming use it than the 55-year-old doctor that just learned how. They're trying to take my appendix out, looking through a screen. And all they ever did was play Dr. Operation. But one of the problems right now, in my opinion, is Ann, not headmaster, with education is us. Because we think things that he's talking about, oh my God, all they're doing is gaming. Oh my gosh, this is all my kids do. Well, maybe we need to think about that. And we need to start teaching through this. And we need to go, because this is what they have. My mom can remember the day her mom would say, you put that book down and go get outside. Right now you'd beg to look down and see your kid read a book.
My son would not read a book, but I put it on the cell phone.
Yep.
So here, read this. So now he's cool because he's used to this.
Right.
He's not used to turning pages. So
Right.
That's that niche.
And so those are the things that I think with the people that run education, and I'm going to just talk about our state. If you look at the state school board, and now Lynn Kroger's on the state charter school board, so don't tell her I said this, but they're all old fuddy-duddies. I'm older. And so am I really up with today's education to where I read it, but can I relate to it? And I think that's one of the problems is that people aren't able to relate to where it's going. And we're all used to it the way we wanted it. Well, this is what it was. You go to a doctor's office now, you don't fill out a sheet of paper anymore. They give you an iPad here. and you're over there going, oh my God, I hate this thing, it won't even push, it won't. Hand it to your kid, they'll have it filled out in 60 seconds. But those are the kind of things that we, as adults, have to wrap our hands around, that we need to let our kids do what they want to. Y'all remember when we do the Olympics, Summer Olympics, Mary Lou Retton and all of them, they said this, well, it was a guy Olympian, I don't know who it was, that the parent, he worked for Home Depot growing up, it was a Home Depot commercial, I cried about it. But his mom said, oh my God, my son got in trouble all the time. Because all he was doing was climbing on things. He was climbing up this, climbing up that, went to wherever, he's climbing up the grocery store. So I said, finally, you know what I did? I put him in gymnastics. Now we're at the Olympics. He is the elite of the elite because she took what her kid liked and his interest that came naturally and ran with it. What we try to do is mold kids into ours. Sit in that desk for 60 minutes, and guess what? In 60 minutes, I'm gonna let you be done with English, and then I'm gonna let you go to math. Well, what if they're math oriented? How many in you or your spouses or anybody that you know's profession involves math, science, English, and social studies? They're math-oriented people, they're English-oriented people, they're science-oriented people. So are we in education related to that? I've gotten way off topic and I could sit here and talk about this. Let's take 2 more questions and I'm gonna let y'all get out. Yes, ma'am.
A day like today where it's rainy and the little kids have indoor recess, I'm just curious, with the new gym opening up, is there a way to cycle it through that when they have to be inside, they can run around again and just get all that anxiety out?
The answer to that is yes. And the reason I say that is because now our classes have been really, really crowded in PE. So I was a PE teacher. Nothing made me madder than when people came in my classroom, which was a gym, and messed it up. So what I've told our PE teachers, at any time you see that, go in English class during planning period and run, move their desk around, do all the things differently, and change the English class. Also, in my opinion, the only class we teach at Union Academy that will save your life or help prolong your life is health and PE. It's one class together. English ain't gonna make you eat right, make you live longer, any of that. And we always take health and PE. I'm getting on my high horse again. The answer is, at times yes, at other times no. We are turfing our playground. And the reason we're turfing our playground is after a day like this, our kids, let's act like it's Monday, our kids, and it quit raining right now, our kids would get on our playground to at least Wednesday, if not Thursday. So now, if it stopped raining right now, our kids will be on our turf playground this afternoon. So we hope, number one, that helps. And then number two, we do have places around where they can go. Ms. McGinnis obviously wants to speak to
Well,
that.
then also 3 through 5 in the morning, we hold in the new gym, and we're doing basketball, we're walking the track, trying to get their heart rate up before they even go to class so that their brains are, firing. And honestly, we've been doing that since Christmas, and it has changed the game. I mean, I have kids that used to get here at 7:50, and they get here at 7 o'clock to get in there to exercise and do things, and the teachers are loving it. So yes, it's not during the middle of the day, but at least in our grade, we're trying to get them for that hour where they're active.
Yeah, I mean, I notice this difference when he's inside and when he's outside.
Oh, absolutely. The teachers will notice it, so we just started doing this, and it has helped. And then on days like this, they're not as bad because they've had an hour in the gym, or at least some of 30 minutes.
So it's because you're early.
Not before 7. I mean, I want y'all to know why those rules are pretty hard set. I mean, if you get a kid out of the car at 5 till 7, we're not on staff. And our teachers work 7:30 to 4. We have a certain group, a small group that comes in 7 to 3:30. But just because cars are in the parking lot doesn't mean our staff is on duty and ready for kids. When they drop kids off, we can't be responsible for them. And when they're not picked up on time, we can't be responsible for them. That's why those are hardcore set hours and times. The new gym should be opening soon. It, for the most part, is ready. We're building lofts in the fine arts rooms. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm just laying out there. Somewhere down the line, I stated that we would not use the fine arts rooms, the 3 rooms, until all of them were ready. I don't really remember stating that, but several people, including my assistant, has told me I did. She is always right, so I'm not going to complain about that. Right now, our theater room is ready. We need to vacuum and move a few things, but our theater room is ready. But I was told by some fine arts people, and I probably wouldn't open it up to theater until band and orchestra can go, or you're gonna have bad people. So I left that up to Mr. Zorn. Mr. Zorn, these are your classes. If you wanna go ahead and do it, I don't understand the holdup. Just cause band's not ready yet, doesn't mean theater can't go ahead and move in. Band needs some sound panels on the room, that absorb the sound. They're not ready, they're not here. Honestly, we can't find where they are. We think they've been shipped somewhere at the wrong address. Now, that could take another month before you find that out. So do we hold up everybody else because of that? So I'm along the likings, no, we can't help that. That's construction and the way it worked out. So in my opinion, the theater teacher that this is ready to move in on Monday. We just need to clean it the next 2 days to make sure. But we will, I'll let our high school principal make that final decision and work with our teachers and what they want. One more question, yes ma'am.
I'm wondering, how the ways handling the whole vaping jewel situation in middle school.
How is Union Academy handling the vaping, that's going on, particularly pertaining to middle school? Y'all, I can tell you, vaping's horrible. And the reason it's horrible is you can see it come out, and they also have the kind that's smokeless and you can't see come out. And the most important thing is, and we're close, people on our staff are close to Union County Public Schools people. They've taken multiple students. I'm talking Russian red lights to the airport, to the hospital, because they don't know what are in these vapes. They're buying them because they're underage. They're buying them at not legit places. They're buying them off the streets. They're buying them, from someone else in their class. They're hiding it from parents. They have things that now where vapes can fit in the soles of your shoes that parents don't even realize those are the shoes they bought. I've seen one where this part of a jacket is a vape. So they literally pull it up, vape it, and keep going. It's crazy. We're hitting it as hard as we can. I can tell you if you read it, and I'm sure you all did, last week's newsletter, there was a reminder in there that even an advil on our campus can get you in trouble, suspended. So your kids, because there are programs and there are opportunities where our administration has the right to search your kid at any time, which would also be wanted, metal detector, and see, we work very closely with our local law enforcement to do that. I know Ms. Stewart worked at a different school, but randomly they shuttled all the kids in one door. And once they got off the bus or out of the car, they weren't allowed to go back. They had everybody in the parking lot, forced them in. That one school one morning found 2 guns and about 20 plus knives. Now, it wasn't this school, but that was just what was coming. Kids had no idea that search was coming. Now, once you search the first person, they start texting each other. So they held them in a room like this just to see. But I got a good idea that reminder was put in the newsletter for a reason. And the reason to do that is just make sure our kids know what's important and what's not. It was brought to our attention from a kid, I believe it was either what grade, Miss McGinnis? 4th grade. Boy went over to play with another friend. And at the time, this kid reported to us over Christmas break that the kid went in his mama's room, took a gun, and pulled the trigger, pointing right at his face. Every light, everything in the world goes up. We do everything we're supposed to do, DSS and law enforcement, blah, 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 blah. Ended up being a fake gun. But did that kid really know it was a fake gun? They were just playing. So many things like that. He could have thrown that plastic gun in his book bag, not only for him, if it was, I don't know if it was plastic or not, but fake gun. If it was him and that gun was on this campus and our officer saw it, he is going to take that kid out. That is his responsibility and what he is trained to do. And if he doesn't, I'm gonna grab his gun and take it out for him. But along those lines, to save that kid's life, we might need metal detectors randomly. We might need different things. But in the event that happens, the reason we put the reminder in the newsletter is because inadvertent will get you suspended. So make sure that you know the rules and everything along the line. So
Just to continue that, so I don't know much. I'm learning, just trying to figure out something. But I'm hearing that a jewel has so much nicotine in it, so that's like having cigarettes.
So if a child is caught with that, what is the penalty in the school?
It is in our rule book, and the exact day of vape gets you
I'm not
2 to
sure.
3
I
days,
was gonna
3
say, I
to
know
5
it's
days.
suspended, but I'm not sure.
It is definitely out of school suspension. So in the event that happens, and also the other thing is, this is one of the controversies that happens, and when it's your kid, the vapes have a cartridge, and then they have the device. You can't get nicotine without the cartridge, and you can't get nicotine without this, so they have to be together. Does a school suspend once you have both parts? We suspend if you have this one or that one, and the reason is, y'all are buddies. You keep this so you don't get in trouble. This is what's happening in other schools. You keep this, I'll meet you in the bathroom. I would be alarmed about the nicotine in them. That's not what scares me. What scares me is the other stuff, the artificial ingredients and things that are doing stuff to people's brains that they don't even know they're allergic to or gonna have a reaction to.
Is there something that you could, educate the kids on, like, having like an assembly or something, just scare the heck out of them?
That's what you gotta do. You gotta
You
scare 'em.
really,
That's
with
right.
the fear of God.
I was saying you gotta scare them. That's the only thing
You know,
you
I
can
mean,
educate.
not just the pressure of being in middle school, but just scare the living daylights out of them, that type of situation, the ambulance had to come for the kids. Like, just like a day program.
Yes.
I had to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'll tell you, we will try those type of things and have tried them, like we do the drinking and driving, the VIP. That was the most touchy one you've ever had. For the most part, there are studies that say it doesn't scare them. It makes them more,
Especially when they're with their peers
Yes.
and stuff, it's
Yeah.
gonna blow it off.
yeah, oh, I can get that, how's that? Let's try it. I bet you it won't affect me like that. It's one of the things. One of the things that hadn't been around in a year or two was what's called Skittles. You bring 2 pills out of your parents' cabinets, you bring 2, you bring 2, you bring 2. Everybody puts them in a cup, shakes them, and everybody takes 2 of whatever they are. The meet before school is called Skittles. Meet before school, so she might have just taken a Valium and a Vicodin. You might have just taken a Pepsi and a Tums. You know, you don't know what you're getting. They don't even know what they are when they put them in the cup, and it looks like a rainbow of Skittles. So those are the type of things, and, you know, that's more, if I give her a Valium, they can look up what that does. If I take 2 pills, I'm not sure what it is. It's cool to watch what happens. Oh, man, you're the one, you got the dose today. And, you know, compared to most places, we are great. But one of these is too many. One is too many even for here.
I would tell you as parents, if you are having conversations with your students about the vapes and the Juuls, I'm not in administration anymore. However, I don't know of a situation where a student is using it for the nicotine. It is usually a different effect they're looking for. So it's not, in their minds, a replacement for a cigarette. It is the other stuff that's in it.
And if you get a chance, go by one of the vape stores and walk in and look at some of the stuff. And just think about what it says once you get inside the store, this does, compared to this one, and they're right beside each
Because I don't
other.
even think they know what's in it.
Well, they're not regulated.
Yeah. It makes a good old cigarette sound okay. So, y'all, thank you for coming. I seriously mean it. We can only get better if you tell us what you think your kids want and need. The clubs, let's do it. Let's help us come up with a plan of how to do the clubs differently. Help us. We talked a lot about bus shuttling. We have a parent that's worked really, really hard on bus shuttling, and it still fell through. And now I've had another parent come and pick it up and want to start running. But I want to hook those 2 parents up first and make sure they don't duplicate and save efforts. Do the same for us. Clubs, I'd love to hear. I'd love for you to help us start an esports thing around here, which in turn would